I am Marla. I am here to carry out Lord Duma's wishes. Lord Duma is truly wonderful. Father says so. My name is Hestia. Yes, I am Hestia. I've done nothing wrong. Only as Father commanded.
We have a slightly different Grand Hero Battle Unit review today because while we will do our usual rundown on Marla, I will also be talking about Hestia as well. These two are Sonia's sisters. Hestia is the middle child, Marla is the oldest, Sonia is the youngest. They look a little different than Sonia because they were sacrificed by their father Jedha and became witches in the name of Lord Duma. Sonia wasn't having any of that. To get Hestia, we have quests to obtain 2 5-star copies. She will be joining the 3 to 4-star summoning pool next month. For today, we're basically gonna do 2 unit reviews, but as we will see, Marla and Hestia share a lot of similarities. They are just different color types. For our Grand Hero Battle Unit, Marla is a red infantry mage. She will fulfill all the stereotypes of this class. For stats, she has 30 HP, 46 attack, 33 speed, 20 defense, and 45 resistance. You may notice, very similar to Rearmed Sonia. It's that made stat spread with very high attack and res, kinda awkward speed that may or may not be useful, and then not really good physical defense. Marla has a res super boon, and if you want to copy Sonia's playstyle, then high attack and high flat res will be helpful for certain skills. At base, Marla has the second highest attack for red mages, just behind the top for all magic users. She will have the highest res for the red mage class. Now, Marla's inheritable red tome is the Red Deer Plus tome. 12 might, if foe initiates combat or has more than 75% HP, grant plus 5 attack, inflict minus 5 attack on the foe, and also inflict guard on them as well. The inheritable Deer tomes are okay, not amazing, not awful. Inheritable tome options are not that strong since we don't really get many new ones, but the Deer tomes grant extra damage, you take less damage, and you get guard. Naturally, it's a more defensive tome, which is signaled by its always active enemy phase condition. For the rest of her kit, Marla has Glaces to go with her high res. You need a way to charge it first though. Her B skill is Sabotage Res 3. If all foes are grouped up, Marla can hit them with res debuffs, and she uses her high base res to win those res checks. The most interesting skill we'll talk about today is Infantry Hexblade 3. Adjacent infantry allies that use weapons will gain adaptive damage and plus 2 attack and speed in combat. Think of it like the mage, aka Marla, is imbuing her allies' weapons with magic. Infantry Hexblade is only on Hubert and Halloween Zane. I think we got a Hubert Ephemericon manual at some point, but this skill is also just a Sacred Seal. It fits that slot quite well as a support skill. While adaptive damage is good, the main drawback is the 1 space range. Most people like to space out, or you're going to risk Marla being in attack range. Things like Bulwark, Warp Bubble, or Savior can remedy this. For another Hexblade option, there is now the Hexblade A skills that work similarly, but you have a 2 space range at start of turn. I would keep an eye on this skill for the moment. You never know when it could get A tier for upgrade, and Marla has it at 4 stars, which can save you some feathers. If you plan to merge Marla up, the Neutral Nature will grant plus 1 HP attack and res. If you want to play around res comparing skills like Sabotage, then the res super boom is enticing. More attack would be fun too if you just want to go for a nuking route. Let's now talk about Hestia. To complete the weapon triangle, Hestia is a blue infantry mage. For stats, she has 40 HP, 45 attack, 31 speed, 23 defense, and 43 resistance. Hestia has defense and res super boons. Maybe you want to try to work with a defense stacking build, but generally Hestia follows her sisters with high base attack and res, middling speed, and generally not great physical bulk. Hestia has higher HP and defense compared to Marla's higher speed and res. Hestia's base attack and res are quite high, and I believe she has the highest attack for the free-to-play blue mages. For her weapon, Hestia brings the inheritable Blue Deer Plus tome. The name is new, same effect as Marla's red version, but this is a 2-year-old weapon for the blue mages. Halloween Sophia's Spider Plush Plus is the exact same weapon. Not the thing you want to see in a world of arcane weapons. For her other skills, Hestia has Icebreaker Special, which is fine. She has Attack and Res Ideal 3 if you need more of that. For her res comparing debuff, Hestia has Resploy 3. I think she is the only one with it at 4 stars. If you want to upgrade her kit, having Resploy will save you extra inheriting. Overall, very basic kit. Res debuffing skill, plus 10 attack, plus 5 res, and inflict minus 5 attack and guard on the foe. Merging Hestia will be tougher depending on your RNG. Her neutral nature will also boost HP attack and res. Res super boon is going to be most useful generally, but if you want to try go for all around bulk, then extra defense would be nice. Her best weapon does improve tankiness. For free-to-play comparisons, we'll do red and blue mages. For Marla, the red mage infantry grand hero battle group is infamous, but to be fair, it's been over a year since the last one. We also took a whole generation break in between for free-to-play red infantry mages. Marla will stand alone with her Gen 8 BST. Among the heroic girl crowd, she has the highest attack by far and dominates in resistance as well. You can see that guys like Elfric have similar stat spreads, but he throws extra attack and res into HP. If you wanted a faster mage with highish attack and res still, Salem is an option. Hilda does have good attack and resistance, but she has her own unique tome, which plays around dominance. Julius is quite old, but his Loftus Refine was not bad at all. If you don't care about speed, you can get some bulkier options like Solon or Leon. They also have their own weapons, and there are many more gimmicky unique weapons in this group. For demoted red mages, Marla is even more alone at the top for attack and res. Noel and Miranda have that low defense, awkward speeds distribution, but if you don't care about speed, then Marla will be more min-maxed in the end. With Dragon Flowers and the Resplendent stat boost, Lilina actually catches up in attack. Her resistance isn't that bad, and she has more physical bulk to work with. If you want a more balanced defense res mage tank, Sophia is the demote option, respectable attack, and a lot of HP defense and res for a mage. Moving on to blue mages for Hestia, there's a big competitor among the heroic Guerrero options. Kadean Soren from earlier in the year comes with a similar distribution to our witches. He has higher res, slightly less attack, and then higher speed but less HP and defense. From further back, Reeve has decent attack and res with some points in HP. He does have his own weapon. With Dragon Flowers, Brunia and Cyrus bump up their attack and res stats to catch up. They have refines if you want something different. There is also Sonya, who has pretty high defense if you wanted a more balanced defensive mage. For demoted blue mages, there are two units with pretty high res. Tatiana and Ileana both have similar stat spreads, and they drop defense by quite a lot. This will mean their res stats will catch up to Hestia's with max investment. Hestia still has the highest attack and defense, but the other two have higher HP and speed. If you only care about res, take your pick. Otherwise, Hestia is just a modern day version of this type of mage. Marla and Hestia have similar stats and the same weapon, so they can run the same budget skills. With low defense and not the best speed, these two will really be weak against any decent physical damage dealer. If you want a follow-up, Quick Riposte is the go-to classic unless you want to invest everything into speed skills. The Deer Tomes are always active on enemy phase, so you can try to focus on that. However, it basically means you're trying to tank enemy mages only, or healers, and that's it. You could run Mystic Boost as a seal to counteract dragons, but we don't have a budget close counter skill. For some player phase threat, the sisters do have high base attack, and they each have res debuffing skills. Sabotage or Ploy res have a good chance at activating, and you can even run other ploys if you want. It's not great without higher speed, but if you ran no follow-up, it could lead into a double into really slow units, and the Deer Tome has guard to block fast specials. Attack and res ideal is fine for stats, and old C skills are okay self-buffs on top. Heavy Blade is a cooldown option. If you want to play into a more support role, Marla's Sabotage and Infantry Hexblade is interesting. You can actually fit in a Ploy or Chill Sacred Seal. If you want to boost Flame Resistance, the sisters can use Stillwater 3 as an A skill or Sacred Seal. However, since Deer Tome inflicts -5 attack, we could try to not lower their already bad defense. Squad A's BU offers +3 attack and res with +5 HP. For premium skills, the sisters can split apart depending on what inheritable weapons they have access to. Generally, your best bet is the arcane ones. For Marla, Arcane Eclipse is perfectly fine for a high attack mage. Like Rearmed Sonya, you can get help pre-charging specials, and Rearmed Ophelia has Special Sparrow 4 for the DR Piercing. You can take Ophelia's whole kits, but if you don't have attack and res finished 3 fodder, you could just do Arcane Eclipse, Special Sparrow 4, and Times Pulse 2. You will still pre-charge Iceberg or Luna, but you're gonna need at least Special Sparrow 3 for this. And a good substitute for the finish skill is Mirror Impact. If you're running Iceberg, the +10 resistance will add 5 damage. This is an extremely basic, one-shot build that will recharge itself. Arcane Eclipse does have a follow-up if needed, and Mirror Impact could offer extra protection. However, you can also do Remote Mirror for % damage reduction. If you aren't using Special Spiral or Arcane Eclipse, Marla could use Brash Assault 4 with Remote Mirror for stacking % DR, a follow-up attack, and the empowered counter. Another option is Magic No Follow-Up for partial DR Piercing. The only issue is Marla is not that fast. If you're going to go all out for a build, since she is a witch, Marla could also run the new attuned attack Oath Echo for warping. Switching gears, for premium support skills, obviously the tier 4 ploys or sabotages could be easy to use with Marla's good base resistance. Ideally try to build flat res or use phantom res if you really need it. To help with the ploy 4, you can use the new Pumpkin Stem Plus from Halloween Cedo. It grants +6 attack and res field buffs for the user and the team, so extra support power, and it has bonus leveler 4 built in. Since the tier 4 ploys proc on the enemy phase, the res buff will benefit those checks. If you want to go this route, Marla can hang back proc ploy debuffs, and maybe you can run something like a rally plus ruse combo for more buffs and debuffs. Cedo will still be good to get though, since he has attack and finish 3. That could really help a lot if you want to inherit finish 4 from Rearmed Ophelia at the same time. Next up, Hestia. We've mentioned that she has the higher physical bulk slightly and has a defense super boom. If you want to have a more balanced defensive unit, you could try to stack all defense. Close counter builds are fun. Quick Repulse 4 adds %DR if you want to use the Dear Tome for guard. Ideally though, even for a defensive build, you want to try to get rearmed Plumeria's Arcane Euphoria. She just left, but the Arcane Blue Tome has accelerated specials, a free follow-up attack, true damage on hit based on 15% attack, and 30% DR for 1 hit. Hestia has high base attack, so you get more true damage, and the 30% damage reduction can be stacked with other skills. For example, with the follow-up attack, you can instead run Guard 4 to get more DR, or pair it with No See Disturb 4 to disturb fire sweep effects and gain extra damage reduction at the same time. This can lead into a really hard to get build still, but Pledge C skills give mages a bread type cooldown effect. If we can get a non-speed version with Arcane Euphoria, Hestia can tank 1 hit then counterattack back with a charged flare for healing. These are extremely premium skills, but a mage with multiple DR effects, instant special counterattacks, and a special that heals max percent HP is pretty incredible without any unique skills on them. If you want to go for a mix of damage and support, the Arcane Euphoria naturally can come with Defensive Res Ploy 3 and Wings of Mercy 4. You can even get Stillwater 4 for the flat res bump. Plumeria's kit is fine as a hybrid support in combat role. However, if you want, feel free to just go full aggressive with things like Special Spur 4, Times Pulse, Magic on a Follow-Up, Remote or Brash 4, Oath 4, or Echo for warping. They're just a lot more interesting builds with Arcane Euphoria in your hands. For some free-to-play inheritable tomes, Kadean Soren's Magical Lantern Plus is interesting simply for having bread type cooldown built in. Other than that though, the Blue Deer Tome isn't the worst option out there. So, should you 5-star Marla, and should you use those free Hestias? For the most part, Sonia's sisters are not bringing anything super unique or new to the game. No unique weapons, the Deer Tomes are not exactly OP or even new in the case of the blue one. These sisters bring more res ploy and sabotage res sources if you want those skills. Infantry Hexblade is the most interesting thing here. If it gets a tier 4 one day, Marla will hold some value. Otherwise, most would probably just use the Sacred Seal version. Stat-wise, Marla and Hestia are high attack and res infantry mages. Their defense and speed are not great, but we have playstyles that utilize high base res, and both sisters can dish out some heavy magical damage as well. We just got the tier 4 ploys, and tier 4 sabotages are another res checking skill. Generally speaking, if you want to use either sister competitively, you want to get those arcane weapons. Marla can follow Rearmed Ophelia as a nuking DR piercing special spammer. Hestia with Arcane Euphoria does have attack scaling true damage and a follow-up. However, it's that 30% DR which is most interesting. Although obviously, not everyone wants a tank-focused mage, Hestia can try to make it work since we now have things like Flare and other %DR passives though. In the end, Marla and Hestia won't have Rearmed Sonia's uniqueness, but their stats are similar and they can at least grab arcane tomes in their own color. Marla pretty much fulfills all the traits of a bog standard free-to-play red mage Grand Hero battle unit. At least it's been some time since the last one. That's all I got to say for this video. Go get Marla from her Grand Hero battle and do those attuned quests for the free 5-star Hestia copies. I am surprised we haven't gotten Jeddah at this point, but I guess if the next Shadows of Valentia banner needs a bad guy, then one more red mage will be on the table. Thank you for watching. See you guys in the next video.